We zoom on in here today with some wonderful action to the outskirts of Milan. This is Monza, and today this is a track which for many there will be a heavy focus on high speed, heavy braking zones, and getting overtaking done by a very strong margin. This place has held all sorts of styles of racing. You can see the old banked circuit there and the new, of course. And later on, in terms of last year, we saw this hold the final round of the World Rally Championship. But this Monza track is so much more than rally. Today, it's about formulas here in your iRacing Grand Prix Series as we get ourselves ready for 5.79 kilometers and 3.6 K's worth of action. My name is Jake Sperry. Joining alongside me today is Jay Kennedy to bring you all of the action. We have just started qualifying. The first laps are now coming up onto the book. And the real key that we're going to be seeing from these opening laps, it seems, Jay, is how do you go out there and manufacture a very good qualifying lap? Because this is a place where they're not going to be having draft to help them out. They've just got to be absolutely on it.
100%. They have to be on it from the get-go, on it straight away. No chance to really build up to a lap. You have to get in there and work with the conditions that face you as well. Not too bad conditions. Fairly warm track, around 40 degrees Celsius, but they've definitely had tougher conditions. Not the easiest conditions, but it's definitely been tougher than what they've had, or that they have had before. It should be a very, very interesting night of racing. I'm noticing one name, a noticeable absentee for tonight.
And it's the driver who has been unbeaten so far this season. Number one, Matteo Ugolotti, 1,608 points in the championship after 7 rounds. This will surely allow Jorge Martinez to close down the gap now on 1,499. But of course, Matteo Ugolotti would only need to do one more race of improvement to get things going. The first time's coming down in on the board, and a name that we haven't seen so far this season, currently topping a timing stands right now, but he is a specialist when it comes to open wheels. It's Kane Halliburton.
Yeah, good to see different names joining the series as well, as Martinez be really looking for today to be a big opportunity to gain some bulk points and close that championship gap. But Ugolotti, as you said, unstoppable this season. He's just been absolutely brilliant throughout the entire series so far. So going to be tough for anyone to beat him. But today, a big opportunity for everyone to gain some points.
And this is some track to try and gain points at. We were talking about this just before we were coming on air here, Jay, as we look at Kane Halliburton making his way with the big R on the front around the final corner and making a charge over towards the start-finish line, hoping that that's going to work out for him. A 20 flat is his best. He's just put down a 19.996, that has done him just enough to make sure he's a 10th and a bit clear. Martinez didn't get a good first lap in on the board, and you'd say he hasn't got a good second one either. He's only down in 9th on a 120.9, so Martinez absolutely nowhere here today.
Yeah, he'll be thoroughly disappointed with that. Long way off the pace, so he's going to have to work really hard in this one to close that gap down and work his way forward. A chance to get some big points, and may have just gone begging with a less than optimal qualifying time.
I've just noticed as well here with what is next to the race right now that it says here, at least on my sim, Jay, unofficial.
That's fairly normal. It will say unofficial for us spectating, so we'll say official for drivers, so it's okay, don't stress.
Okay, no worries at all. Just making sure that these drivers can score points. Kent Nielsen making a drive to the line as he looks to try and get something sorted. Doesn't work. There is Ray Griffey-Owen looking to make his charge over towards the start-finish line as he tries to put something nice on the board. What can he do with his first flying lap? Going to be a 22.9, which is a little bit down in terms of time. It is a full exactly 3 seconds adrift of Kane Halliburton up top as John Pat Kelly, TQ Engineering, trying to make a drive to the line. I am keeping an eye out on tyre choices as well, because Griffey Owen is out there trying to get a time done on the medium compound. Drives on the medium include Tamas Shane, Stefan Piotrowski, Kent Nielsen, and Adam Webb. So some drivers going with the medium, others on the soft, like Diogo Oliveira, who is currently right now in 7th position.
It's an interesting choice to run qualifying on that medium tyre. I mean, it does mean that you start on the medium, but which is probably the preferred. Good lap there for Oliveira, moves up in the P3. Not abnormal to see drivers trying to do that qualifying run on the medium just so that they've got that option as their starting tyre. But we've seen in this series that the majority try and get qualifying done on the soft and then switch to the medium at the pit stop. But yeah, it's not too common to see drivers do this start or this qualifying run on the medium and have that as their starting tyre. It's usually the tyre that they swap to in the pits. So interesting to see.
Certainly is. Drivers still looking for those second laps. Piotrowski won't get a second lap in at this moment in time. Number 21, he hasn't set a lap time as of yet. Currently classified as 22nd. And that one won't count either. So he will be day donezo. Ben Horrell, his first lap came in. He jumped to 8th place on a 120.6. So he's got himself a good opportunity. He needs to find about a 10th and a half here if he wants to jump Cedric Beale in 7th position. You've got some names returning that have been absent for a little while. You've got Marco Nurmela, for example, Adam Gleeson there as well in the mix. But here comes Horrell looking to charge to the line. That is a 21-1. That is nowhere near good enough to find improvement. So no dice there, and that will be everyone done in terms of qualifying. We are going to be jumping over towards the starting grid then to see where everybody will be stacking up in terms of this race here at Monza. There are 11 turns on this circuit. It is 5.79 kilometers. It is the Temple of Speed. And this temple will see Kane Halliburton there on the front, a Club UK and I specialist. He is there, 119.996. Marco Nurmela will be alongside him with Diogo Oliveira and Matt Wood, 3rd and 4th. As things stand. Great qualifying as well by Thomas Bartosic. He starts from 5th with Adam Gleeson beside him in 6th position on the grid as row 4 houses Cedric Beale and Ben Horrell. Liam Buckley going from 9th position. Good qualifying as well from the number 20 with Kleber Toffoli rounding out the top 10. And a shock for Jorge Martinez. He will start outside the top 10 in 11th, which some say is a very dangerous place with Klaus Siemitz alongside him in 12th. Following that is Nico Veronen and Dan Buffton on row 7 with John Atkinson Jr. and Kent Nielsen there on row 8. Nielsen on the mediums with John Pat Kelly in 17th position. Ray Griffioen there with his number in 18th. Well, both of them with their numbers. It's the next row, which is Adam Webb and Christoph Mont, leaving Tamas Shane and Stefan Piotrowski, rounding out the 22 drivers who are going to be up on the grid. And 2 minutes to grid up, or they start from pit lane, waiting on Marco Nurmela in the number 8 car to get ourselves ready. It looks like the two teammates then are 1 and 2 at the moment at front, and they'll be trying to really make a good showing of this one today here at Monza. They know what they want, which is a very good start. And there is the green flag, and we are underway. It's 35 laps. Slow start from both of them, though. Look at that. Oliveira and Wood just breeze on by. Gleeson in the fiercely forward car is going to do the same. Almost tyre to tyre as they go towards turn number 1. Oliveira pinching on that inside, and he gets turned by Matt Wood, and they're all going to have to scatter as they go through a bottleneck now there at turn 1. And what a disaster as they went on through. It's now going to be Halliburton and Nurmela who are 1 and 2, and the two drivers who need it, you could argue, the most, both in trouble. Halliburton with a slowdown penalty.
Yep, Matt Wood's done. He's in the pits already, so race over for him from that incident. Cedric Beale, great start into P3. So he'll be quite happy with how that start's gone for him. But Martinez not able to capitalise as much on that start as others. Still a little bit of side-by-side back in the field. A slowdown penalty for Liam Buckley.
Yeah, so Buckley's going to be falling backwards, and that is not going to be ideal in the circumstances. It's very, very heavy on the opening 2 laps of this race. They fight into the Ascari chicane. That is Halliburton and Martinez then together at the moment on the road, fighting for 8th place. Halliburton looking for the run. We know Martinez is good at saving tyres, and I think he'll be looking at that one here today for the majority of it. No DRS until the 3rd lap. Teu's made a really great start. Dan Buffton, he's 14th and up to 6th.
That's an incredible launch for him to get that many positions so early. I'm just noticing too that there's a little bit of front wing damage on Jorge Martinez's car, so he may need to look at an alternate pit strategy just to change that front wing. Will definitely be hurting him, as I just saw that he lost that position there, as a little bit of side-by-side through the chicane. Very, very awkward when you're side-by-side into that chicane. It just checks everybody up around you. It can quite easily end in disaster in these sort of cars.
Especially when it's with your teammate, Mont and Atkinson Jr. at it as they go towards the De La Roggia chicane. As just in front, that is Adam Webb losing out to Nico Verinen. Remember, he's on the medium compound here as he tries to fight this one around the outside of the Lesmo. He's trying to hold on. Second Lesmo comes up, and it's a much more committed corner, that second Lesmo. Very difficult to get right.
They're so unique, aren't they, those corners? And the second Lesmo just under 90 degrees. The first one just over 90 degrees. So getting a flow through that section, not too easy. Just noticed Ben Horrell up the inside, around the outside of Adam Gleeson. That's moved on. Gleeson also with a bit of front end damage on his car.
And Ben Horrell's actually done something very interesting. He's just gone, Adam, do I have damage on the back of the car? You're not the one who needs to worry about damage. It's the car behind you with front wing scraps coming off the back that you need to be more concerned about right now. Top 3 okay. Marco Nurmila leads. Thomas Bartosic in 2nd. Cedric Beale currently in 3rd. Worth talking about as well, still in this race, is Diogo Oliveira. He's in 19th place at the moment. 1 retirement so far is Matt Wood at this moment in time. So Matt Wood, the only retirement so far in this race, but 35 laps, still going to require a pit stop. But this is the sort of track that you'd scream out and say, tyres are not as much of a factor here today.
I think damage is a bigger factor, making sure your car's clean, than tyre conservation or tyre wear. Sure, the tyres do take a bit of a beating, but making sure that you've got that top end speed is probably more important, because the straights are just so long, and there's so many 100% throttle sections.
Comes Buffton. Thinking about the inside of the Parabolica, you can see how much damage is on the front wing for Adam Gleeson, struggling through this section. Yeah, it's the entirety of the front right of the end plate which is crumpled up. There aren't on new damage model just yet, but on the front stretch, look at this, DRS 341 kilometers an hour and gets it sorted, as does Kane Halliburton as he comfortably dispatches of Kleber Toffoli.
And Jorge Martinez is dropping back through the field, so that front wing damage definitely is being a big factor for him in this race. He was up to 8th, he's now back to 10th, and I don't think it'll be too long before Kent Nielsen and Väyrynen are also through on him. Kent Nielsen on those mediums, the lead car on mediums. That was close there for Väyrynen, and now Christoph Montz now looking to take advantage.
Down the inside of the first Lesmo, very difficult place to get it done. He'll get alongside. Now he's got to be committed here on the inside for the second Lesmo. He takes the line away. It's a single line corner, and you can see just how much struggle there was for Nico Väyrynen. There is DRS though through this section, and quite crucially, they both get it as they try and fight for place up to Ascari here. There's one of the iRacing steward, I would say, marshals, having a good look at everything that's going on. He can't move from that position, but he's still having a good look.
Barney's brother hanging out there. I think we named Barney's brother a few weeks ago.
I can't remember now at this point.
I can't remember either. I think we named him Dave or Barry.
Barry. I think it was a Barry.
Yeah, Barry. It definitely was Barry. Oh, there's been an incident back in the field. Ray Griffioen and Liam Buckley both around.
Yep, so both of them in trouble out there on circuit, going through to the Parabolica. It was just a case of Griffioen was always going to turn in. Here it's soft versus medium as they go on through. And the big disaster is, well, you're going to turn. There's a car there, and nobody really lifted.
Yeah, nobody wanted to back out of that one, which, I mean, I understand that nobody wants to back out, but you still have to, you know, watch out for other cars. Ray Griffioen's taken this as an opportunity to come into the pits. And what tyres is he going for? More mediums.
More mediums, of course. There is no requirement in this series where there would be, say, in Formula One, for example, to use two different types of tyre compound. You can go medium all the way to the end. And look in the background, that's Kane Halliburton there in 6th position. He is through on one Mr. Adam Gleeson. He's now thinking of the top 5 here on Dan Buffton as he tries to figure out a way to get through here in these opening laps. So that will definitely be a key focus for him as he will look to now attack as much as he possibly can as that one goes forward. He will dive to the inside, and he is looking to very comfortably pick up that move.
DRS making a huge difference. He has picked up the fastest lap of the race as Halliburton. 122.3, half a second faster than the race leader. Is Halliburton's best lap, so definitely out there nice and quick at the moment. Ray Griffioen's brought it back into the pits as well, so he went away and decided that he needed to get more damage fixed and has brought it back in.
And crucially, Matt Wood is circulating, but he is 1 lap down at this stage here in this one. So technically all 22 drivers are still operating. Adam Webb's in the wall. He's gone out of the second Lesmo, I think it is. The first Lesmo, and is effectively Lewis Hamilton himself.
Awkward position to end up as well, because you've got cars driving straight at you. He's lucky that it hasn't ended up worse for him. But definitely going to be some damage on that car. Just as you said, all cars still going. One's ended up in the fence.
I'll pay my apology there. I'll send a tiding to the Temple of Speed for that one. So no good for Adam Webb. He is still circulating out on circuit as into the pits comes Jorge Martinez from P6, on lap 6, sorry.
Yeah, no surprise to see him in early. Probably a big surprise to see him in this early. Definitely needs to get that front wing fixed up. So we'll see him replace that front wing right now. What tyres is he going to go for? I'm going to say, I was about to say he's going to go mediums. Will he be able to make the mediums stretch the remainder of this race? You said before that he was very, very good on tyres, so there is a high probability that he will make them last. I don't know about everyone else.
I'm also querying if someone like Kent Nielsen, for example, could stretch out the mediums for an entire race here around this place, because this is not long in terms of time. Yes, this is a high-load style circuit, but it's the sort of high-load style circuit that doesn't have many big challenging corners on tyres, just on braking. So someone like Kent Nielsen, who's in a massive scrap right now with those 2 Phoenix racing cars behind, this is going to be a very interesting moment in the terms of the race. Those on the mediums, are they going to be okay from now to the end of this race? But as we say that battle's going on, Ben Horrell is looking behind him, because there is Kane Halliburton. He's got the DRS. He'll be looking to try and make that move through very, very comfortably. Looks to the inside. Thank you very and much under brakes. That's P4.
Yep, and in the background, Kleber Toffoli through on Adam Gleeson, and Christoph Montz does get through on Kent Nielsen. So, tell you what, the DRS is providing us with a bucket load of passing, isn't it? It's, I mean, it's what it's designed to do, but even for an iGPS race standard, we're seeing twice as much passing as what we normally would see, I reckon.
Absolutely, and that comes from drivers as well being very out of position in this race at the moment, and we're seeing drivers struggling. Adam Gleeson, for example, with the front wing, he's just trying to nurse that car around to a traditional pit stop window, I would say, here today, so he could make that stop work for him. He's losing a bucket load of time. We were talking about how he was up with Ben Horrell earlier on. Well, just look at that. He's already lost nearly 5 seconds.
Yeah, Ben Horrell in 5th. He was in 4th, but in 5th position. But yeah, you're right. Gleason's 11 seconds behind the leader. Horrell is 6 seconds. So you're exactly right. 5 seconds. Well done.
Well done. I do know how to math, which is a rarity sometimes.
I don't.
Well,
definitely not at 6:30 in the morning. I definitely don't know how to math. But...
Absolutely not. Well, I don't blame you either, and that's why I'm very bad at Scops math, because that's 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning for me as well. So, at least for the moment, the battles seemingly just keeping themselves calm. Here comes John Atkinson Jr., though, as we look at the race leader, Marco Nurmela, as they can see, committed to his line late there, over to the left-hand side. Knew he couldn't get the move done on one Mr. Kent Nielsen, but this is the issue that these drivers are going to be coming up against here, Jay. It's the fact that they are in these DRS trains and they will struggle to get those advantages against other drivers, and they will have to look behind very soon because Diogo Oliveira is approaching.
And Oliveira, another driver, as you said before, lots of drivers out of position. Oliveira definitely out of position. Petrovsky out of position. Martinez obviously out of position with that pit stop. Adam Webb also out of position. He's come in and made that stop, replace that front wing. Both those drivers replace front wings, so they're going to be storming through now as well. Be interesting to see if anyone pits out of sequence and maybe looks at doing a double soft. I don't think it's a viable option, but it could be something that someone tries when they've got nothing to lose. The likes of a Petrovsky or Tomasina as well, maybe could try something like that, something different. I don't know how well it would work, but it's definitely something to think about. Because the other factor too is it's not an extremely long pit lane, so you don't lose as much time in the pits as you would at other circuits.
I'd say that's the strategy they're aiming for. Nielsen, there's contact there as they go through. He will spin around, will John Atkinson Jr. Nielsen in the gravel as well, somehow sneaking through is Diogo Oliveira and Nico Väyrynen. And that is nicely done, says Kent Nielsen. He is not happy about that. So we'll take a look at things on the replay, then brought to you by the Virtual Racing School. It's just a case where they're all trying to go through, they're side by side, all the way through towards the corner. And I'd say Kent Nielsen, they're never fully cleared, but there is just an issue between those two as they try and figure out where to go. Look at that! Rally style going through there is Diogo Oliveira. How on earth did he manage to skirt through that?
We've been watching the last round of the World Rally Championship, hasn't he? When it was here last year.
Yeah.
Just,
look at that.
Just working his way through the hazards. Nice little move and up another 2 spots.
Certainly won't complain, I'll tell you that much. 2 spots for your troubles. You'd absolutely have those in the bank, and that's what he'll be looking to try and do very, very effectively over the course of the racing that we have. But it is still Marco Nurmela out in front. That gap is 2.1 seconds at the moment over Thomas Bartosic. It's then a further 2.4 back to Cedric Beale, and then 1.2 seconds to Kane Halliburton, who did lose time over the course of that last lap. So maybe he's used a lot of tyre early here in this race, Jay, to try and get himself up through the order. As into the pits comes John Atkinson Jr.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case for Halliburton. He's used those tyres up and burnt them off very, very quickly. He might pit maybe in the next 2 or 3 laps and come in and take mediums. I would think that most people will come in and do mediums as well at the next stop. Only reason they're starting on softs is obviously they qualified on softs, so they're forced into that. But yeah, I think most guys will probably come in maybe lap 13, 14, come in, take mediums, and they've got 20 odd laps to do on the medium tyre.
I disagree with you, because this is a 35 lap race, halfway 17 laps. So set lap 17, lap 18. You've only got to stretch it out 3 more laps then, if that's the case. Go soft.
Potentially. The only thing is how much you're limping those tyres at the end. And we've seen that the medium, sure, they're not as fast as the soft, but they're not too slow. They're not a slow tyre, so the medium is definitely a viable option. I mean, we saw Kent Nielsen, despite getting involved in that incident, he
Yeah.
and Atkinson Jr. were pretty much even on pace on the alternate tyres. So I'll be interested to see anyway.
Oliveira's got it horribly wrong at turn 1. He did all the good work, got down the inside, but he forgot the one crucial thing about the turn 1 there at Monza. Of course, reprofiled in 2000 at the turn of Millennium. He's got to slow it down and make the corner.
Yeah, actually making the corners a big part of turn 1, isn't it? You don't really want to run ahead and take the escape road or run off the circuit. Big thing too is running off the circuit and shortcutting the corner. There's those huge sleeping policemen that you can bounce over, and they can cause some big damage to either the floor of the car or the front wing. So you need to be careful missing that corner, because it can cause a fair bit of damage to the car. So Oliveira on his recovery, back to 12th, but he's still got a lot of work to do.
Speaking of work to do, DRS is now active for Kane Halliburton. Down the inside goes Tamas Shane in the BMW Sauber McLaren, it seems, at this stage. Put 3 different manufacturers in on the car, why don't you? And he gets it done on John Pat Kelly with a very, very nice overtake. So it's all starting to heat up. There is Halliburton in 4th, and in front of him, Cedric Beale in 3rd place. And Beale will definitely want to be charging on forward right now, making sure that he can jump up and gain a little bit more on the brakes. Left-right chicane of the De La Roja. Right-left is the Rettifilo. But this is a really, really important point of the race, because you're trying to maximise everything you can out of the life of the tyres now before the pit stop phase comes into view.
Timing that pit stop is going to be crucial as well, because the field's so spread out. You want to be careful to not end up in the wrong traffic. Not necessarily in traffic, because some traffic can benefit you, but you don't want to come out around the wrong driver. What I'm meaning by that is some drivers are very, very courteous and will just give up the position, know that you're not going to, know that they're not in a battle against you. They're just going to give up the spot, let you use the DRS and breeze on by and not fight for the position. Other drivers are going to defend the spot regardless of if they're actually fighting with you or not for real track position or real position in the race. So making sure you time your stop for where you come out and who you come out around is going to be a lot more important than we've seen in other races. No surprise to see Adam Gleeson in early again, another driver with front wing damage. It's going to get that fixed.
He certainly is, and I've just been looking over his lap time, see what he's been doing. He's been doing mid to high 23s, and someone he'll actually have to be careful of is someone like Jorge Martinez, for example, who is a little bit down the order right now. He's in 18th position, but he's doing mid to low 23s at the moment on the medium, so he's doing a very good job of things, managing those medium compound tyres. In terms of where Adam Gleeson is, he's just exiting pit lane right now. Matt Wood goes through and unlaps himself technically, but that's not a huge gap to claw back if you're Jorge Martinez. That's still a really good idea for him, as he'll try and take those mediums to the end probably to go to about maybe 8th place at the moment. Might be a good result for Martinez.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if he can get back into the top 8, I think that's a great finish. Gleeson will have the advantage over the next 3 or 4 laps though with the soft tyre. Brand new soft tyre, he should be able to punch out some very, very quick lap times, but that'll plateau and Martinez will come back to him, even though his mediums are a lot older. The fact that he's on the medium compound will definitely prove to his benefit later on in the race. Speaking of soft versus medium, John Pat Kelly, Tamas Shane, Liam Buckley, all in a nice little tussle right here.
Certainly are. We've been on board with Liam Buckley. He had DRS on the run up to the Ascari chicane, named after Alberto Ascari, the 1952 and 1953 Formula One world champion. Passed away long before his time, of course, as now coming back down the front stretch. They go along. Buckley full bore of DRS. He's 343 Ks and can't get close enough to Tamas Shane, which shows you just how trimmed out everyone is here today around this fantastic Monza track. And they really do not build tracks like these anymore. You design this sort of track right now over the course of racing action, for example. If Herman Tilke tried to design this, they crucify it. They absolutely crucify it. This is like St. Andrews for golf.
Yeah, Reese and I had this discussion during the majors last week about Nordschleife. the fact that we can race on circuits like this, circuit of a bygone era that would not be able to be used in modern times, as Marco Nurmela comes into the pits from the front of the field. Halliburton in as well. Yeah, so teammates obviously working on a strategy here. Ben Horrell in. You've got those sort of old school circuits where they would not be used in any way, shape or form if we were to build them now. Which is pretty cool to think. The likes of Le Mans, the likes of Nürburgring, Monza,
Monaco.
Spa, Monaco, and to some extent Bathurst, tracks like that, they wouldn't exist in modern times if it wasn't for the history of those amazing circuits.
Absolutely, and that is what we see time and again, just how brilliant these style of circuits, this sort of racing can be out there on track. Horrell back out then and away again, and immediately he's got to be working towards Tamas Shane just in front. He's got fresh tyres, and this is going to be undercut versus overcut. Those who pitted in a little earlier will have the advantage straight away. Those who pitted in a little later, they'll etch it back 10th in, 10th out. I wouldn't be surprised to see Bartosic now take the dive into the pits as we look at Oliveira in his battle with Väyrynen. He has got himself ahead of Nico then for the moment, but in comes Thomas Bartosic then to make his stop. Cedric Beale now will take control of the race. Dan Buffton also following in that, I would say, mock-up brawl.
I love how he's put the wheels the same colour like the old Brawn wheels used to be, that fluoro yellow as well, the Dayglow yellow. Do rather like that. Pretty cool look. Already through though. Nurmela already retakes the effective race lead. Bartosic though will hold on to that effective second place. Gap between those two around about 3.5-4 seconds. So got a little bit of work to do to close that gap down, but can be done. There's Tamas Shane side by side and Ben Horrell around.
That's clumsy going through. Both of them not ideal, and they're trying to drive. You've got to be careful if you're Ben Horrell, and they're all going to have to scatter here. It's a pig's ear of all of that as they try to unhook front wings from each other then, as Horrell will now take a slow down penalty going through this section. 4 seconds, and not happy, but that's just how easily you can come together. And it's just the case there of Tamas Shane. He just keeps it in as he goes through. Horrell thinks he's got the move done, but it's just simply not. Shane just lifts off the brake and, takes his natural line in the corner.
Which he's entitled to do because he wasn't 100% clear, so he's still entitled to take the corner, but
of course
it was definitely clumsy from both of them there. I mean, they're not really battling each other, so there was no need for that from either of them. They both could have been a little bit more clear on that, and I don't like that.
That was Oliveira getting absolutely sideways coming into the pits. I have no idea how he's been able to save it here. Jay, you're going to have a look at this on the virtual racing score replay right now. He's going to come in. He's right behind Nico Väyrynen, so he lost the place as he went on through. And just watch this as he hits the brakes.
Gee, he just pulled it up, didn't he? He was very, very lucky to not end up hitting that tyre bundle.
Oh, look at this on the exit. They're going to be 3 wide, and there's almost contact there. That is Jorge Martinez trying to get by Tamas Shane, who exits stage left then at the Retafidio, and there's going to be 4 going straight on by.
Wow. Now, interesting too, Tamas Shane hasn't pitted. I'm wondering if he's going for that no-stop that you were talking about before. We said that maybe we would see Kent Nielsen maybe look at that.
He's second right now.
Yeah. Oh, he definitely, I think, is on for a no-stop. We did hear rumours earlier in the week that some drivers were contemplating doing a no-stop. The drivers that started on mediums definitely have that as an option. We would be surprised if it actually happens, if it actually comes to be, but if anyone could do it, it would be those two guys, because we've seen not necessarily as much in the in the IGPS series, but in the IRO1 he's been very, very good on tyre conservation and making the tyres last. So we could see Tamas Sane do it, and Kent Nielsen definitely has been one of the drivers that has been decent on tyre life as well, and tyre preservation. So
yeah,
this is interestingly poised now with these drivers who started on mediums, and what they can actually salvage from these races. As Boy Marquez in that battle again, this 4-carb train looking very spicy.
it is. And of course, Marquez is on the mediums. Everyone around him's on fresh, soft tyres. So Ben Horrell, not sure how much damage he's got on the front. Looks like he's relatively got away with it. He'll be there. So will Diogo Oliveira. And remember, Oliveira's up there in the championship also. So he'll be thinking about how he uses that to charge on through. But at least for the time being, no changes right now through the middle sector of the lap as this race continues on at the moment. I am also keeping an eye out here on drivers who have come in and made their stops. Christoph Montz currently is there in 9th position, and someone else who's also not stopped, Stefan Piotrowski. So he'll be trying to go as long as he possibly can here in this sort of race. And I'd say in about a lap or so, we'll be seeing Thomas Bartosic trying to get by Kent Nielsen, but it's now up to Marquez to hold his place.
Going to be tough for him to hold on here, though, isn't it? I mean, it depends on how trimmed out he's got the rear wing and how much straight line speed he's got. But we know that the guys behind are going to be doing 340 odd kilometers per hour down this straight, and Marquez is not going to have anything for Ben Horrell. It's around about 6 k's per hour faster, or actually is he? He's going to hold on.
He's good on the brakes, is Jorge Marquez. Remember, he may have the worst tyre, but he is definitely an incredibly skilled driver. There's a reason why he's second overall in the championship right now, and it's because he does really, really good at keeping tyres in a window where they can be used to defend or to attack as and when necessary. And this is why Marquez is also doing well. He's keeping Nico Väyrynen just about honest at this moment in time. And we've also got a great battle going on. Dan Buffton's got his eyes full of both Toffoli and Montz.
Yeah, Dan Buffton's got lots of bright colours in his rear view mirrors. And yeah, Kent Nielsen here, he's definitely going to lose his spot to Bartosic. And I think Kent Nielsen will be smart, wise. Yeah, I was going to say he'll just tuck in behind. He knows that that's not a fight that he needs to get involved in at this stage. Halliburton not too far behind, but I think Kent Nielsen has a legitimate chance of being 4th at the end of this race.
Foley down the inside as well, we saw in the background, getting the move done on one Mr. Dan Buffton, as he looks to try and put the power back down and attack as much as he possibly can at this stage. We're on lap 21 here of 35, so 15 laps to go. Buffton's trying to come back here towards the Della Roggia, but they are maxed out as they go through that section of road. Montz has got eyes on all of this as they look to go through, and of course no changes of position, at least for the time being here, between those drivers.
Good battle though between these three, so that will continue for the next little while, no doubt. Halliburton with a great run towards Parabolica, not quite close enough, but he times this run very, very nicely out of here. He will get the run on the front straight, use the DRS, and potentially get a move done.
Well, here it comes, because this is the issue for Kent Nielsen. He's got no real grip in comparison to those fresh soft tyres. Halliburton now's going to just have to pick his line. Is it left or right? It's left. And Kent Nielsen, he's going to force him down a channel as they go side by side through, and they just about do okay. And remember, Kent Nielsen had that big tangle into that first chicane, of course, earlier on with John Atkinson Jr., so he continues on. Meanwhile, Montz is just looking, and effectively, he's doing the same thing in Monopoly when you visit the jail square, and you have to say just visiting when you hit and land it instead of go to jail.
Just watching, isn't he?
Yes, just watching.
Just watching, just looking at what's going on. Not quite close enough, but close enough was Ben Horrell. He's got the move done, and Diego Oliveira on his recovery as well. A lot of drivers that are in damage limitation mode, aren't there? Like the likes of Marquez, the likes of Oliveira. They're trying to just salvage some points from a another quality field. And before the race started, they would have both been thinking, beautiful. No Ugolotti, we've got a big chance of getting a win here today, and neither of them are looking at a podium. So they're both going to be very, very disappointed with how this race has gone.
Are we really going to insinuate that Matteo Ugolotti is driver of the day by not showing up?
He's definitely, by not showing up, he's played just as big an impact on the race as he does when he does show up, just in a different way.
Exactly. All of his rivals, on a chance to capitalise, have not. And it's as simple as that when it's come to the racing that we've seen. Again, another little look from Christoph Mons. He takes a narrower line into turn numbers 1 and 2, the Retafilo, and he cannot get himself then close enough to make that a reality at the moment. Oliveira's full bore with DRS, but Marquez has that covered every single stage of the way, and this is one of the quicker races, if not the quickest race on the calendar all season. It is 5.8 Ks or so, but you also have to remember they're doing 5.8 Ks in 1 minute 23 seconds. It's incredible, the average top speed around this place.
Definitely. I mean, the top speed in the DRS zones is around 340 kilometers an hour. Other circuits where you've got DRS for the length of time you see that we've got today, they're not reaching those sort of speeds. So it's definitely the quickest track average speed wise that we go to on the calendar. So the lap times show that. As there we go, move done. Dan Buffton just lets it go. Interesting.
He does. He's got no choice there really, but he'll get DRS back, I'm pretty sure. On this front stretch, as into the pits comes Stefan Piotrowski from 6th position in the race. He was on the medium compound tyres and has decided that he can't go any further than 24 laps, so he's bit the bullet.
Yeah, interesting. So that could play a factor for the likes of Kent Nielsen and the likes of potentially Marquez, Tamashane, who's going to come out just ahead of him.
Marquez has just lost the place, by the way, to Diego Oliveira.
Yeah, Marquez dropped out of DRS range from Ben Horrell, so that meant that Oliveira was able to use his DRS a little bit more to his advantage. Move done. Another little battle back in the field. A couple of drivers that we don't see get too much TV time. John Pat Kelly, Piotrowski, Liam Buckley still going at it. John Pat Kelly just holding on to this position.
Holding on to it right now, but of course he is a driver who predicates himself on finishing races, and that will be what he tries to do. I'll tell you what will be really frustrating right now for Kane Halliburton is that he is just there right now. He's just clipped into 9/10 of a second between himself and Thomas Bartosic, but at the DRS marker line, he was still outside the 1 second range, so he couldn't get DRS on the front stretch.
So he's going to have to go another lap before he gets that DRS advantage. Last lap for Halliburton almost equaled his fastest lap of the race too, only 16 thousandths of a second slower than the fastest lap of the race that he set. So this battle for the minor podium places, well and truly on now.
Absolutely, and you have to say, Kane Halliburton's done a wonderful job to recover back through the field after the slowdown penalty on the opening lap, having to avoid the incident between Wood and Oliveira. He now puts himself in a good place. Now that is Adam Webb coming down into the pits with about 11 laps to go. He can't go any further. He'll jump on the soft compound and try everything he needs to right now. Battle behind, P4, Kent Nielsen, Cedric Beale. This is one for that next position, and I'm sure that Kent Nielsen will be feeling the hurt, the cliff, so to speak, on those medium compound tyres coming into play. He won't pit, but here comes Beale. He'll go to the outside. He'll have the overspeed as he moves on through, and there's nothing you can argue about that one. Thank you and goodbye.
8-lap-old soft tyres versus 26-lap-old mediums. Never going to be too much of a challenge for Cedric Beale with the DRS advantage and being so close. So Kent Nielsen, we said that he might be able to hold on for 4th. Now going to have to hold on for 5th, but last lap by 1.3 seconds faster than Toffoli behind. And he's got a 7-second advantage. So I think he should be okay for a top 5. You can see Toffoli right there. Toffoli's in his own little battle too, so that could play into Kent Nielsen's hands as well. With Christoph Mont's last lap by setting his fastest lap of the race. Actually, both of these guys last lap by set their fastest laps of the race.
Here's the issue though, Jay. 10 laps to go, 7 seconds of gap, and if you're being closed down a second a lap, I don't need to be a scientist to say this, he'll be caught with about 3 laps to go.
Yeah, don't have to be a mathematician to work that one out. Interesting, Matt Wood is the fastest car on track at the moment, despite being a lap down.
He's got nothing else to prove except that he's the fastest. He's trying to keep his safety rating up. Marco Nurmela, by the way, 122.028. He just disproves that completely. He is the fastest driver on track, and you are not going to argue against that at this moment in time. Took the race lead coming out of the Rettifilo, has not looked back since. He's got 4.6 seconds, and his teammate is in a scrap. As again, there is Christoph Montz. He's looking for the dive down the inside now onto Foley, and he has got the move done.
Nice move. Didn't think he was close enough, and then just lunged it in there. And Toffoli was probably a little bit too courteous there, I would say. He just gave up the spot a little bit too easily. Montz, again, did his fastest lap of the race last lap too, so he's definitely flying along, is Christoph Montz.
He absolutely has to right now. The Phoenix Racing car is up there. Started, remember, P20 today in this race, and he's looking for a top 5 finish. Now, there goes John Pat Kelly down the inside of a very struggling Tamas J&A. You can see he's on those very old medium compound tyres, wiggles off the exit. Liam Buckley's turn now to go out there and maybe attack for place.
Tamas J&A definitely struggling a lot more than Kent Nielsen was or is on the same age, same compound tyre. That was close. As Liam Buckley gets through, Tamas J&A drops back to 18th position, and he is the second last car on the lead lap, just behind Atkinson Jr. for position. And I wouldn't be surprised if Atkinson Jr. now with DRS will get this done.
Yeah, I'm sure he's looking at that one here as he will go up the hill towards Ascari. Down the inside goes the Phoenix Racing car. Thank you very much. And Matt Wood, I believe that is there, side by side, said, yoink, I'm going to unlap myself here and get through, because you also have to remember he is only half a lap behind Adam Webb at this stage.
Yep. Adam Webb could... No, he won't. I was about to say he could be able to maybe get back on the lead lap, but I've just noticed the lap times that Merkel is doing. First driver to dip into the 21s in this race, flying along, feeling very, very comfortable at the front.
Someone's not comfortable now behind Bartosic, because look at that. Halliburton is there. Gets the DRS activation point well within his range. And we've seen it time and again from him. He knows how to pilot open wheels. He races quite a bit in the UKNI Monday night skippies as he now looks to make this charge on the front stretch. DRS full bore, but Bartosic was doing 3:37 on the straight without DRS at all. That is incredible.
Definitely one of the faster cars that we've seen out there without DRS. I think the fastest I've been seeing was around 334, 335 with no draft and no DRS. But that's incredibly quick for Bartosic, and going to make it very, very hard for Halliburton to get through. Interesting, just noticed Halliburton's last lap, if he didn't have an off-track, would have been the fastest lap of the race, but had an
unofficial
off-track, so unofficial fastest lap for Halliburton. 21.8.
Yeah, that shows just how much he's trying to push around this place. You have unofficial fastest laps because, of course, you can have, quote-unquote, the lap time deleted up the hill again. There goes the charge as once more this becomes a case of how much can you follow behind. Dirty air really hurts through Ascari, but you have 2 very, very long straights towards the Parabolica and exiting the Parabolica to go and try and get something back. This one, no DRS on, but the next one, you absolutely will as they charge through. Look to attack here on this front stretch. Scenic camera work going on right now as they are really pushing each other right now to their absolute limits. This time it's definitely not close enough here for Kane Halliburton, and this will be really frustrating that he's closing by inch but not by yard.
Oh, that'll help though. A little mistake, a little lock up for Bartosic, and that sort of mistake from Bartosic shows that he is definitely watching in the rear vision mirror as well as looking forward. May have missed his braking marker by 1 or 2 meters, and that's enough just to lock a brake in these cars, which have such amazing braking power. 1 or 2 meters is enough to force a lockup, because you have to brake, instead of it say 58% brake pressure, you have to brake at 60% brake pressure or more. Well, I'm not sure on the exact number, but whatever percentage you're braking at, if you have to push that brake pedal that tiny little bit harder, that can lock a brake, force you to make an error, force the driver behind, or encourage the driver behind, I should say, to keep pushing, because they know that the driver ahead is watching their mirrors and watching them intently.
I know how to lock a brake here on iRacing, I'll give you that much, but
with the
at least for the moment...
It's easy.
Sorry? Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah, I do it too.
Yeah, perfect. But here comes Halliburton again. Again, he's been searching for a way through against Bartosic. He's all the way up through 3:38 now for Bartosic. Hits the limiter, slows down. Halliburton will continue forward here, gets to the inside, and that is a wonderful move as he went on through. I have been noticing Bartosic lift midway down the straight as if he's saving a little bit of fuel out there on track, because remember as well here, Jay, this is one of the highest fuel usage circuits in the series that you can find, because you're spending nearly 80% of the time full throttle.
And of course, no refueling in the pit stops in these cars as per real life. So it does add that extra little factor. Is something that is being adjusted for the series next season. Well, they will have a little bit more fuel in the cars next season. But for this season, starting with exactly 2/3 fuel tank, 2/3 official real-world race distances, which means that you do push a little bit too hard early on, fuel saving can be a factor, and I'm wondering if Halliburton has even considered that to be an option. If he hasn't, you're probably finding out now with 5 to go. May have his spotter screaming at him, telling him he might not have enough fuel to get home.
And you know, we've been looking at that big battle. We haven't noticed the fact that Marco Nurmler did a 1:25 over the course of that last lap, or the lap before last. So he went straight on at the first chicane. That gap's 2.2 seconds now for Kane.
Ooh. And that was very tight for Bartosic. Almost came back there, and Halliburton was close enough to get the nose pushed in there, but wasn't able to get the move done in the end. And now also need to keep an eye, Kent Nielsen has cars right behind him. That's Montz and Toffoli not too far away from him as well. So he was just cruising along. He's now got a little bit of company with him. Will he be able to hold on for 4 more laps? Be interesting to see.
Well, you can see in front of him is his teammate Adam Webb. He'd like to get by pretty quickly there. Tamas Shane, of course, just behind, and Christoph Montz has got to navigate the traffic if he wants to keep himself in play at this moment in time. So mistakes coming aplenty. I wouldn't say this race is over for the top 3 either here. Bartosic has looked really good in a straight line. He's at least 3k, 4k an hour, PH an hour faster on the straights without any DRS than Kane Halliburton is, who is a lot more better when it comes to the corners. And now all of a sudden they'll attack again, but that gap is down to 2 seconds right now at the front, and we have got ourselves a showdown. Look how much Bartosic closes behind. It was nearly a full second back. He closed that gap down to about 3/10.
Side note as well, Tamas Shane has decided that the medium compounds and going without a pit stop too hard for him. He's come in and taken softs, has put him a lap down. That's why we saw him in that battle with Adam Webb.
I'm just looking very cautiously there at Tamas Shane. It looked like he was trying to angle to the inside. And then Christoph Montz, he makes the move through. Now behind this, we've been keeping no eye on this, but Dan Buffton has been slowly reeled in by Adam Gleason, searching for 8th place. And we take a look at the virtual racing school replay.
And there was nearly a move on too. Watch Adam Gleeson here. Was close enough to potentially get the move done and couldn't quite get it finished.
There you can see, pulls over to the right-hand side of circuit, gets alongside, but Buffton, who just holds it there on the inside, carves it off, maybe a little bit of contact between them. I think they just got away with it. No dice then in terms of that move, but we are going to be down to 2 laps to go when Marco Nurmela crosses the line. He still has a gap because behind Halliburton, he's using all of the road possible. I'm not sure how much is going to help him here. Bartosic is right there underneath and absolutely charging. He's at 351 as he goes by him. That's incredible, but Halliburton's later on the brakes. They're side by side. They're going to tangle as they go on through, and Bartosic is still going to get it.
Nice move from Bartosic, and now here's Kent Nielsen and Christoph Montz, and Montz side by side, but I tell you what, this is good defense from Kent Nielsen. Is he going to hold the position? He is, even with a mistake.
Wow. So we've got it all going on here. Top 5 not secure. He's going to have to put everything on the table in the last 2 laps. So is Kane Halliburton here because Bartosic is through. They've got the gap down to 1.7 seconds. But of course that gap will open up the fact that they tangled together at the Rettifilo. I think that's allowed Nurmela to be safe here going on to the final lap. So work certainly to be done here in the final laps. And of course you've got Claver Toffoli in the mix as well. He'll be desperate to get through along with Christoph Montz to try and gain extra place. Well, as I say that, he's just gone wide there at the second Lesmo. Goodbye any hopes of that one happening, as here comes the move as well now for Montz. He's trying to go around the outside of Ascari here. They've come together, and Montz is going to go straight on. He's going to spin it around, contact to Ascari, and Montz's race is now going to be tiptoeing back down through the field. Not ideal. VRS replay on screen.
As the final lap commences for our leaders. See in the background there, so that was Toffoli running wide, and yeah, Christoph Montz, ambitious spot, and then Kent Nielsen coming over just to try and get a little bit of a run for the corner, and they both just moved into each other, really, didn't they?
Yeah, I think it was more the fact that trying to take the corner there was Kent Nielsen. He's trying everything to hold on. I don't know where Christoph Montz is supposed to go at that point in time, but you've still got it on. Nielsen versus Toffoli on the final lap, so it's still on for the top 5. No guarantees there. We're focusing on this battle for second, but Halliburton has got himself a tyre in the gravel or two, and that will pretty much secure that then in terms of Thomas Bartosic and second position overall. Nielsen will have to hold on late here in this one, but we'll look to the front because you've got Marco Nurmela, who has led every single lap of this race bar a couple because of the pit stop strategy. He took the race lead when it was Diogo Oliveira and Matt Wood coming together as they both got a terrible start, both of the R cars. But coming around the final corner, one small mistake only. Nurmela was not punished. Marco Nurmela takes the win. Bartosic second, third is there. And the battle for 5th place at this moment, as through to 4th will go Cedric Beale. What a drive from Kent Nielsen. No stopping on the soft. It's going to be close to the line with Toffoli, but I think he's going to turn to no. That is a top 5 for Kent Nielsen.
What a drive. Regardless of the incidents and things like that, to drive with no stops on those mediums and get it the whole way home and still have okay pace as well. That's a great drive, regardless of anything else, as Montz and Bayern nearly side by side, and Ben Horrell, that front wing is destroyed. He is not going to be able to hold that spot.
He might lose another one here as he tries to put the power down. Thank you, says Liam Buckley. So Ben Horrell's had a moment late on in this race. A battered front wing, I think is the right way to say right now. And I'm sure that Ben Horrell will be very, very upset at the fact that he's got no front wing. It's happened at least a couple of laps ago. He's been riding around with that pretty much ever since. So not ideal for him and the way that he's wanted to end this race. So yeah, it's been a race of many halves for many drivers, but ultimately Marco Nurmela has every reason to smile. Finnish driver picks up the win in 48 minutes and 52 seconds. We told you it's a quick one. These normally go an hour. He wins by 1.7 in the end over Thomas Bartosic, who you could say for Marco Nurmela has a lot to thank there for his teammate Kane Halliburton, who harassed Thomas Bartosic every stage of the way late on. Just couldn't deal with the fact that Bartosic could hit 351 with DRS. He finishes in third. Cedric Beale gets a wonderful fourth place by his standards. Started seventh, finished fourth, but Kent Nielsen, the Canadian, jumps up into the top 5 there with that drive. Started in P16. What a wonderful work that he's done, because he just beats out Kleber Toffoli, who finishes it off in 6th. Adam Gleeson had front wing damage after lap 1. He recovered it back to 7th place, which is a really strong drive from him. Dan Buffton was up as high as 5th place in this race. He finishes it off in P number 8. 9th position will go to Klaus Siemet, and it was Diogo Oliveira's recovery from 3rd after an incident on lap 1 at turn number 1, which gets him the top 10. Christophe Mons, he was fighting for 5th place, but that incident, that contact with 2 laps to go, drops him back to 11th. He just beats out Nico Veiranen for place with Jorge Martinez. That's one to forget for him. P13, he'll probably use that as one of his drop rounds, with Stefan Piotrowski there in 14th position. John Pat Kelly, 15th, beats out Liam Buckley and Ben Horrell, 16th and 17th, with John Atkinson Jr. there in P18. A lap down for Adam Webb and Tamas Shane, who both had to pit off of the medium compound tyres. 1 lap down as well is Matt Wood, who had to really work after being, or taking the tow, on the opening lap of the race. And then the only retirement overall was Ray Griffioen, P22 outright overall. So not ideal at all in terms of that situation. So at least for the moment, it's a race where a lot of drivers had a lot of issues out there, but the big key is going to be where they go next week, because it is Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin time, Road America, and in Formula vehicles, this is a wonderful, wonderful track.
It's an awesome track in almost any car, so I'm looking forward to seeing how these guys handle the track at Road America. Long straights, high loads. It's going to be very, very fun, and we will have it here on SimSpeed TV.
We absolutely will, and of course the only place you can catch that is with us here at SimSpeed. So if you haven't had the chance already, you can like, you can share, and you can subscribe here for more amazing action brought to you by SimSpeed TV. Massive thanks to Virtual Racing School, of course, who have been the sponsors to the replays here today, and the work that has been done overall from Jay Kennedy, who has done double duty today, cameras and commentary, myself, Jake Sperry. That is a race where I'm sure a lot of the championship contenders will want that one back. Issues for Oliveira, issues for Matt Wood, issues for Adam Gleeson, issues as well going through for Jorge Martinez. But for Marco Nurmela, he had no issues at all. Bartosic will take that one with a grain of sand and absolutely smile on that. And now everyone will be very much on their focus moving forward. It's one where I'm sure that the one driver who didn't turn up had the best weekend of all the championship contenders, Matteo Ugolotti. We'll see you, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, next time out.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rhythm, both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson! Anderson's up top!
Oh my god! Oh. Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
This is very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go! Oh no!
That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?